We hear a lot about shepherding in the Gospels, and yet we live in a society that has very little firsthand experience with it. So we have to reflect secondhand on shepherding. It's still valuable, though, because in some ways it might even be better because it allows for the expansion of thought. The secondhand experience always does that. I remember the first time I visited a television studio. It was the studios of the television icon Sesame Street. And I remember looking around expecting to see so much. And I said to myself, this is it? It was somewhat disillusioning. It was rather mundane. There was no Big Bird, no Oscar the Grouch, no, not really even a Sesame Street. I suppose the same is true with shepherding firsthand. It's rather mundane. Yet it's a favorite of Jesus when he talks about discipleship and his relationship with us. Think about it as second-handers. A shepherd is knowing and free and faithful. A shepherd's knowing. A shepherd must know his flock. In an increasingly virtual world, we're challenged to know one another by the heart. Each of us has been entrusted with a flock of sorts, and we have to ask ourselves, are we making efforts to truly know that flock in our work, in our lives, in our neighborhoods? It's a good point. A shepherd is free. Are we kind and merciful and generous out of obligation because we have a burning desire to do good? Do we have that feeling because it's what we're compelled to do from our gut? And we do that in so many small ways and need to notice that. Mothers who make lunch for their kids, being the taxi driver for our family, helping without being asked. I think back to the days when I was a kid. My parents did a lot for me, and there was no payment for that. Also, a shepherd is faithful. Faithful shepherds hang in there, even when we're powerless to take the pain away. In Psalm 23, we hear, when we walk through the valley of death, God is with us. What valley is there? The valleys of addiction and failing health and worry, when we need to regroup the flock, if you will. Second-hand experience can be a great help. It helps us to reflect on our relationship with Jesus and his with us. It's a day to be refreshed in the green meadow, to be affirmed by the shepherd, that we may shepherd one another, knowing, free, and faithful, to grow closer to becoming what we receive from the altar today, the body of Christ.